This episode is about occultism. We go through the whole progression of the mod and set up the highest tier pentacles for the rituals. We learn how to place and remove entire pentacles at once, and even make Eldritch Miners to generate copious amounts of resources. Hey, welcome back to another episode. We are here in our lawn base area that is almost completely cleared out. So we're going to be moving away from this and the mining dimension shortly. I just need to, there's a lot of things I want to clean up and kind of build out a little bit. I don't like the way the industrial foregoing area looks, and so I just need to have some time to spend to basically build and figure out a nicer way of how I want all that stuff to look. But anyways, we have a lot to cover in this episode, so let's get right into it. We're basically going to be speed running through all the progression for occultism, so we can get one of the most important things we will need in this playthrough, which will be the void miners. And if you guys know about those, you know how crazy they are. But anyways, to first get started with occultism, we're going to need some demon seeds, and I'm just going to break some grass, and here we go. We got one already. I can delete all the rest of these things. Once you have your demon seeds, you can go ahead and use a hoe and some bone meal. And we're going to grow these guys to get demon fruit. That should be enough. Let's go continue the rest in the mining dimension. All right, one of the first things we're going to need is some flint and steel. And what we're going to do is throw down our demon fruit and light it on fire. And that's going to give us spirit fire. And this doesn't hurt you, so you can stand in it. It's fine. We're going to need some other logs, which is growing some other trees, and we're going to need some other stone, which is andesite tossed into the fire. So let's start with that one. We have a couple stacks of andesite. I'm going to throw all 4 stacks in here. And you can see that gives us other stone, which will be used to make these sacrificial bowls. And I'll make, I don't know, 32. We'll need a bunch of these. And if we grab some regular vanilla saplings and throw those in the fire, we'll get oak saplings from occultism, and we want to grow those with some bone meal. All right, I got a few trees growing over here, and you can see this is just a regular old Minecraft tree, Minecraft oak logs and Minecraft leaves. But if we eat the demon fruit until we get this effect, which is called third eye effect, you can see it's otherworld logs. You don't get this effect every time you eat a demon fruit, so you might have to eat it a couple times. But once you have that, you can harvest these logs, and you're going to get otherworld logs. And I believe we can throw this in the spirit fire, and we get otherworld ashes. So I'll do that with a stack, and I'll keep the rest for whatever. All right, up next, we need the book from occultism. It's the Dictionary of Spirits. This is a requirement, basically, for this mod. You can't do it without it. And this is kind of your guide. When you first open it up, you'll see that you only see one thing, and you can look through and read all of these, and it's quite comprehensive. And each time you open one, you can see that it opens more trees, so you can like learn about the demon fruit, and one by one it'll take you through everything. You can also just shift right click on this thing, and it's going to open everything up, as well as all of these tabs. And if you already know the mod, you know, you can kind of do this, but I'm going to attempt to explain this to you. Basically, with occultism, you have these things called Pentacles, and the Pentacles allow you to do some rituals in them. And there are 4 different types of Pentacles. We have this circular one, this like diamond shaped one, the square one, and then there's this weird oval one, I guess we'll call it. And you can see all of these have different variations, and they're kind of like different tiers. So you start out with AVR circle, and then it goes up to the higher levels, basically. And if you click on this highest level one, for example, you can see that this circle requires all the different colored chalk. So it has blue and red and orange. those are the higher tier chalks. The way you progress is by making the different tier chalks and building the higher tier pentacles. So you have these 4 main ones that you have to set. This is the circle one, the diamond shaped one. So you can see this one's different, and then this one. And you can do rituals in these. The highest tier ones will be able to do the rituals from all of the previous tiers. So you basically just need to make the maximum one. You don't need every single one. So in the end, when we're done with all the progression through occultism, we will have just 4 pentacles set up, which will be these guys. And if you press this eye icon, it'll show up in your world, and you can place it in the world like that, and it'll show you where you have to put all of the chalks to make this work. Right now we don't have any of these chalks, so we can't do this main one yet. So you can just click on the preview icon again and it'll disappear. So when you take a look at this page in the Dictionary of Spirits, you can see that progression happens from left to right, right? That's how all the arrows are pointing. But some of you might not know, actually, the chalks line up with the pentacles. So this one that's the white chalk is the one that's required for all of these guys. So they kind of line up. And then you can see here's the yellow one that's required for this one, and then the purple one and the white one is required for this. So if you kind of make a grid, you know that this pentacle is going to require the purple and the white. So the white, yellow, and purple are going to be your starting chalks. And then once you move on to the second tier, you can see you're going to need the light gray chalk as well as the lime chalk. So here's lime, light gray, purple, the ones from the previous ones before. And then you kind of move your way over, and you're going to get the gray and the orange, and then the red, and then the black, and then the blue will be the last one. So let's go ahead and see what it takes to do that. We are going to need to make a bunch of these chalks. And we're going to start with the impure white one, and that's just burnt otherstone and otherworld ashes. The otherworld ashes is just from throwing the otherworld logs into the spirit fire. We already did that. And then the burnt otherstone, you need to smelt down your otherstone. So let's grab a stack of those guys in our handy dandy tablet, if you guys know. That's going to smelt it for us. And now we can make a bunch of these chalks. I'm going to make, I don't know, 12 of them to start with. And as you can see, this one's impure. And when you have an impure chalk, you can throw it in the fire and it'll turn into the normal version. So now we can put glyphs on the ground. These glyphs take a long time for you to break. If you want to avoid that, you can make this guy, the brush. And you can erase it easily like that. Okay, so we have that one. And we also needed the yellow one. The yellow one is with gold dust. So let's go ahead and make a couple of those. And I'm just crushing this. You can use the ore hammers, you can use mechanism, whatever floats your boat. And we also needed the purple one. The purple one we can't quite make yet, because that one requires mod specific things. So crushed endstone and crushed obsidian. This one has to be done through occultism. So let's get started with our first pentacle, which will be Aviar Circle. So we will set this guy up. We click on the arrow, and I don't know, we'll just set it up somewhere over here. Cha-ching. And now you can see this is what we have to make. So we need 4 candles. And I've picked up candles as I've looked through. If you don't have candles, you can easily get a bunch if you go to the Bumblezone and line up some honeycombs, and then you can make them that way. So we put down the candles, and then the rest of them is just white chalk. So you fill all these in. I made a boo-boo. We will go back and fix the boo-boo, wherever that was. I think it was this one. Yeah. Okay, and then the last thing left is the bowl in the middle. And you grab your normal bowls and you surround it with gold, and you get the sacrifice bowl, golden one. So you can see we've completed this pentacle, and we're also going to need to put down these other bowls, and your items for the rituals will go in there. Now, the impure purple chalk requires this crushed endstone, and the only way you can get that is through a crusher from this mod. And if you take a look at this crusher guy, down here, it'll show you all the rituals for the different crushers. The one over here is the first tier one, the Foliot one. So if we click on that, you can see it's done an AVR circle, which is exactly what we just set up. And if you put an ingot, iron, silver, copper, gold in there, along with this book of binding, the blue one, you're going to get a crusher guy. So we need to do that. And let's make the book. And to do that, we're going to need some feathers, some black dye, and some books. So I'm going to grab a stack of those because we're going to need a bunch of these. And I don't know why I put that so far away from my thing. And we're going to throw these in the spirit fire. And they will turn into Taboo Book, Purified Ink, and Awakened Feathers. And you can combine those guys together to give you Book of Binding. So I'll make 16 of those guys. And if we check that crusher guy again, you can see it's the blue one. So we take our Book of Binding and surround it with blue dye. It'll get the blue one, and you always want to make sure to bind it. And the way we do that is with the Dictionary Spirits. So you put the Dictionary Spirits in there, you can see now it's bound. So there's whatever that guy's name is, Yingaminfir. That is the demon, I guess, that is going to be bound to this book, and we're going to use it in the ritual. And we are pretty much ready to get our first crusher. We just need to put those items in there. And if I remembered correctly, it was... So first you put the items inside your sacrificial bowls, and then you put your bound book in the middle, and you hear that noise. That means the ritual is starting. Now it's going to summon our first crusher. This might take a little while. So if you have a time in a bottle, or the Roots Staff of Acceleration thing, you can tick accelerate this. Otherwise, you have to wait. You can see the purple particle effects going. That means the ritual's working. Whoa, now we have a friendly demon guy. Whoever this is. We can move these guys around by using the creature catchers or any other kind of entity movers. So let's move that guy over here so he's out of the way. And this guy will crush ores for you. And you can see he's a slow crusher because this is the first tier. He's bad at his job, but it's okay. So the purple one, we needed crushed endstone and crushed obsidian. So let's grab 1 endstone and 2 obsidian. And all you have to do is just throw that in front of him, and he's going to grab it. And make a weird noise as he's crushing it. And you get this obsidian dust. So we're going to wait until the other obsidian dust is done, and we're going to do the same exact thing with the crushed endstone, and then we can make our impure purple chalk. And we throw that in the fire and get a normal purple chalk. So now we have white, yellow, and purple. So if we take a look at the... where's my Dictionary Spirits? If we take a look at this, let's see what's the next chalk we can get. So we already have these 3. The next one will be light gray and lime. So let's take a look at the light gray one. You can see that requires silver and then crushed calcite. So we need to crush silver and calcite. I should also have. I've got some calcite. You can mine this around. You can make it with manipulation essence. Look at JEI. JEI will have all your recipes. You can also just set up like a digital miner and have the digital miner do that for you. It's pretty simple. And once you have your impure light gray chalk, you just throw it in the fire and you get your light gray chalk. All right. The next one was lime, I believe. So let's go ahead and take a look at that one. This one requires crushed emerald, which we can do with mechanism, but it's this research fragment dust that's required to do inside of a ritual. So we need 2 bottles of enchanting and emerald dust, and you can see this is the one that's the square one. So we'll have to set up our second pentacle. So let's take a look at this guy. Well, it'll be this tier. So we click on that, and we're just going to set this up right over here. And this one requires the purple ones and white. All right, and another sacrificial bowl, the golden one, and that's done. And we need to set the normal sacrificial bowls around as well. That way we can do the rituals. All right, and again, that is going to require 2 bottles of enchanting, an emerald dust, and then another book of binding, blue one. So we do that, we get that guy. And we needed bottles of enchanting. We've got a couple. Look at JI, there's a bunch of ways to make these. You can also do occultism rituals to get them. So anything that's required for the rituals, there's going to be a way with the rituals to get them. All right, we put our bottles of enchanting. God damn it. We put our bottles of enchanting in the sacrifice bowls along with the emerald thing. We put our bound book of binding in there, and it's going to do its thing. And with the research fragment dust, we can now make our lime chalk, throw it in the fire. There we go. Moving on, we've got the next chalk, which will be gray chalk and orange. So let's start with the gray one. That requires this gray paste, which comes from a ritual. We will need all these things in now. We need a purple book of binding. So we'll start with that guy. And the ritual requires clay ball, gunpowder, gray dye, and phantom membrane. And if you take a look, this is the square one, and the tier is the Ginny. And the Ginny is not that. It's this one that requires the lime chalk. So we are going to have to upgrade our Pentacle, because right now this one that we have is the Foliot version. So you just click on the preview, and sometimes it doesn't show up, so just click it again. And we're gonna put this, target that same block over there, and now you can see the upgraded version. So this guy's gonna require some skeleton skulls. Let's grab those guys, and I like to stand in the middle. It doesn't matter which direction you put him, but if you stand in the middle and you click on those blocks, it'll face all the skulls towards the center, which looks kind of cool. And now you can see these ones are wrong, like they need to get changed. And if you erase it, it'll say that's the light gray one. So let's grab the light gray chalk for these guys. And the rest of it seems to be okay. We're just going to use more purple. And once the purple's done, we're going to use lime. All right, so this is done, and now we can do the ritual for the gray paste. Some of these take so long. This one's been like, I don't know, at least over a minute. We'll be able to speed it up as we progress. But now we have the gray one, and we could make one of those. And there's our gray chalk. So let's see what the next one is. Orange. So the orange one requires glowberries, blaze powder, and then whatever this weird cursed honey thing is, that's from another ritual. This is the triangular one, and it is the Ginny tier. So we are going to need to set that up. That is going to be this one right here. So we click on the eye thing twice, and I guess we'll just put this one next to Move this over here. I'm leaving some space in between them, so there's room for both of these to grow and not smash into each other. Let's grab more of those sacrificial bowls. So we put the gold in the middle, and then I'm going to put all right, this one is complete. Let's take a look at that ritual. So when you take a look at this one, you can see this, there's this icon in the top right corner, and you can see that it says sacrifice chicken. So we're going to have to kill a chicken over here. So let's grab our mob catcher, and I'll go grab a chicken. All right, and with our chicken, we're going to need all these honey things. I don't know if I have honey. We have no honeycomb stuff. So let's grab we're going to go to the Bumblezone to take care of that. We can just make an oak nest super easily. It just requires an oak log and a wooden sword, and we'll grab an ender pearl. You can also use a piston, but we'll just set this down, throw the ender pearl inside, and it's going to teleport us to the Bumblezone. Once you're in the Bumblezone, there's honeycomb blocks you can see. So we'll grab a stack of those guys, and then if you look, you don't have to look too far, but you will find these guys, and there will be honey blocks around there too. Do note that if you break these honey blocks, the bees become hostile and they'll come sting you. While we're in the Bumblezone, I'm going to use our explorer's compass to look for the hanging gardens, and there'll be a few useful things for us. Oh my god, it's 2,000 blocks away. This is the worst Bumblezone ever. So here we are approaching the hanging gardens. This is kind of what it looks like. The cool thing about the hanging gardens is it spawns every kind of flower inside of Minecraft. And if you look, we want torch flowers, and we're just going to use bone meals on it to get a bunch more. That's plenty. If you need any other flowers, here's where they are, but you want the torch flower, and if you come to the middle of one of these platforms, you'll see this crystalline flower. This is a super cool thing where you can pump experience into it, and it's going to give you enchantments. So if I take a book and I put the book in there, look, aqua affinity, like all of these different things, worker exploitation, stable footing, but there are some, you know, the useful enchantments in here. The highest level you can get is level 3, so you can't get like super crazy stuff that's added by apotheosis. But it's a cool thing to grab. So while we're here, I'm gonna grab that. It does need to go on top of these honey blocks, honey crystals. So grab one of those crystals as well. And we'll just put that away for now and go back home. Alrighty, so we got our chicken, and we were making the orange chalk, and that requires this ritual. So do we have the purple book? We do not. Let's make the purple book first. All right, we put all of those things inside of the sacrifice bowls, and we put our book of binding in there, and you can see it says required sacrifice not performed. So we're going to throw our chicken down and wreck its face, and then once we do that, you can see that the ritual has started. And if we take a look at that ritual again, you can see it says the possessed bee will drop cursed honey. So this is actually going to spawn a possessed bee. So it's not just going to give us the item, it's going to give us a possessed bee. And if you have looting and stuff on your damage weapon, it has a chance to give you more items. So it's a good idea to have looting for this. Oh, here's our bee. When we kill it, we get the cursed honey. That is going to give us the orange chalk as long as we have place powder. The impure variety, which we could throw in the fire and get the orange chalk. All right, after the orange chalk, we are ready to make the red one. So let's see what it takes for the red chalk. That is where our torch flower comes into hand and comes in handy. And we are going to need this Afrit essence, which comes, we need Iesnium. So here is our little offshoot into getting Iesnium. The way you get Iesnium is in the nether. You need to make a divination rod. And that requires these spirit attuned gems, which is just diamonds inside of the thing. We will need a bunch of these, so I'm going to throw in How about 4 stacks of diamonds inside of the Spirit Fire? And that'll give us these things. I'm going to make 32 of the Spirit Attuned Crystals, and the rest of them we can keep. So 1 will make this Divination Rod. And we need to attune this to the Iesnium ore. You shift right click on a block of netherite and you can see that it is now attuned to Iesnium ore. And the only way we can mine Iesnium is with this infused pickaxe. A normal pickaxe will not mine it. And we have to do this ritual for it, which is the square one, the Digin tier, which is this one, I guess. So let's go ahead and make the pickaxe head with these Spirit Attuned Crystals. So basically it's like a diamond pick. And then it's going to need 2 silver ingots, 2 sticks, and the purple book. So we put the head in there, 2 silver, 2 sticks, and we get the pickaxe. And while that is going, I want to put high levels of looting or fortune in there. We have fortune 7 over here. Do we have another one? So we have this guy that has fortune 7 and mending. Why don't we take the enchantments from that? So we'll go over here and drop this anvil. So we're going to turn off our magnet, throw down our pickaxe, and I'm going to throw my unobtainium one too. Throw down a bunch of books, and that's going to split all of those enchantments. So now we have 2 fortune 7 books that I can combine to get fortune 8. And then I can put all of those, the fortune 8 and the mending we will put on our pickaxe over here. All right, so we got our pickaxe. Let's go ahead and enchant it with fortune. I need some experience. All right, so we're going to put fortune on that as well as mending. And now we have this pickaxe. So the only way you can mine Iesnium is with the infused pickaxe or with an Iesnium pickaxe, but we can't get Iesnium because we don't have Iesnium yet, right? And we're going to use this divination rod, and make sure it's the divination rod from Occultism that is attuned to Iesnium ore, and you do that by shift right clicking on a piece of netherite. And the only way you will be able to see the Iesnium ore is if you have the demon sight effect on. So you can either sit there and constantly eat demon fruit, or we can make these goggles, the Otherworld goggles, and this will give us permanently the effect. So let's see what it takes to make those. We need these infused lenses, which requires some of this magic. So we go over here, put that down. 1, 2, 3, 4. I declare a thumb war. All right, and with the infused lenses, we can go ahead and craft the Otherworld goggles. And when we put that on our head slot or anywhere in our curio slots, you can see we get the Otherworld effect permanently. So let's go to the nether and mine some Iesnium. All right, here we are. We're going to use our divination rod, and you hold right click and it'll charge up and shoot particles in that direction. And that's where we have some Iesnium. So I'm going to go down here and do it again. So somewhere up here. Here we go, Iesnium. Make sure you are using your infused pickaxe to mine it with. Otherwise, you will not get any of the raw Iesnium. And I'm going to do this until I get, I don't know, 20 or 30 Iesnium. That fortune is a must. I mean, I only mined, I think 4, maybe 5. And I've got 24 raw Iesnium already. Versus only having 4 or 5. So very, very worth it to get, to make sure you have fortune on there. All right, we have, what is that, 28? That should be enough. So let's go ahead and go back home. So we are back. We got about 28 raw Iesnium. I'm going to take out the Otherworld goggles because I don't like the effect. And let's see. We can smelt these guys directly, but you can see there is no way to, you can't use the ore hammer to double these guys. You can use a crusher. So right now we have the Simple Crusher, and this guy will go ahead and double it for us. So I'll just use him for maybe 2. So we'll make 4 raw Iesnium, and that'll get us the next chalk, which was the red one. So this is what we need. And you can see we need to sacrifice a cow. So let's go ahead and grab our catcher with a cow. And our tablet to smelt those guys into Iesnium. And this one is a yellow one. So we got our first yellow book that we're going to be using. And that is done in the Circle 1 Afrit tier. It's actually Kandar's Opened Conjure, what shows up over here. And if we take a look at that one, it's this guy. So the one right before the red chalk, because this row lines up with the red chalk, and these guys all require red chalk. So we're going to set down this new one. It should be mostly the same, just doesn't have the red ones. So let's grab our lime. All right, that is complete, and we are ready to summon those guys that will give us the red essence. And let's sacrifice the cow. And this is going to spawn a bunch of mobs, and I'm going to use our art spells to kill them. We are about to have chaos. So all of these blazes will spawn, as well as this guy. And when you kill him, it'll give you the Afrit essence. If you don't want to have to redo this, like if you don't want to have to do this ritual again and kill that guy, there's a couple options on how you can reproduce the Afrit essences. One is if you have high levels of looting, you can get more. If you have like loot pinata, you can get like maybe 20, 30 of these, or like 60 of these Afrit essences from just killing one mob, which is this guy, the Unbound Afrit. So that is one option to increase your yield. You can also put them in containment jars from Ars Nouveau and use Drachmies to farm them. That also works, but I'm not too worried about it. We don't need too many of these guys, and the ritual is, once you have the Pentacle set up, the ritual itself is not too bad. So let's go ahead and use that to make the red chalk now. Look at all the progress we're making. And once you have the red chalk, there's a really cool thing we were going to make, which is this artisanal ritual satchel. So we do want to make this thing. It's going to require another one of those Afrit essences, so I'm going to have to kill that guy again. All right, and we have the red tier complete. We just have to do this ritual, which has a lot of items for the satchel. So we will need more of these bowls. And you can place the bowls anywhere, it doesn't matter, as long as it's inside the circle. So let's, oops. Finally, we are done. Man, that took forever. So if you take a look at the tooltips on this guy, you can see that if you right-click a golden bowl, it's going to remove this circle. So look at that, it just removed everything. And you can also shift right-click to open this up and put all your chalks and everything in there. And candles, skeleton skulls. We can completely place down a whole pentacle by, so let's say we have the red chalk now, so we can do the red of all 3 of these and this one too. So I'm going to do the outline for this, the preview. And we can right click any preview block to build this thing. So I'm going to right click it. You can see it just placed all of the chalks. It placed all of the things. I was missing the wither skeleton skulls. So let's put some of those in there as well. And there you go. It just placed them and built this thing. Let's see where we left off. We were taking a look at the next chalk, which was the black one. So we are going to have to set up. So let's select the preview. And we'll put it down here and use our handy dandy satchel, and it's going to place the whole thing in one go. Is that convenient? So, and also it saves so much inventory slots, so you don't have to like hold all these chalks and go through. Anyways, that's super nice. So let's see what it takes for the black one. So we need these withered dust, and we get 3 of them, and we need netherite dust and black stone. Wither roses you can get by having a wither kill any mob. So you just spawn a wither in like a compact machine or something, throw a mob down in there and you'll get wither rows. The one that I have is from the those little wizard tower things that have the ore blocks inside of it. I'll try to flash a picture of it on the screen if I can remember to find it. But once you have one, you can also find these in the nether if you're exploring around, and just use bone meal and you can grow more of them. And then if all that fails, you can also do a ritual with occultism to get it. So plenty of options for that, for the wither rows. And then crushed blackstone we're gonna have to do with the crusher also. So let's grab some blackstone. Right, so let's do this ritual. Ooh, we forgot our sacrificial bowls. It doesn't place these guys, so just because they can kind of go anywhere. So we'll do that for now. Right, that gives us the wither dust, which we can make the impure black chalk and throw in the fire and in our satchel. All right, let's see where we left off. So I think we may or may not be ready to move on to our last step. So we have the black chalk, and the last thing left is the blue chalk. We will also need a conduit, and this one's a little bit more unique because it says item to use trident. So let's grab a trident that we have. I think any of these should work. So we put these in there, put that over there, and we need to use the trident. And that concludes the ritual. So this is going to spawn some monsters. And again, same thing. If you don't want to keep having to do this part, you can use drachmies and to farm them. You can use wannabes if you amber them to do that. You could probably also use the occult ender lead and put them inside of a spawner and spawn a bunch of them. Those are all options. I don't have any of those set up right now to do it, so I'm just gonna kill them manually a couple times. Let's kill all these guys. And again, highly recommend if you have looting. It's going to save you a lot of trouble. Even a couple levels of looting will give you more merit essence. But let's make the impure black chalk. I mean blue chalk, and put that in our satchel. And now we have the ability to make all of these rituals the highest tier. So let's go ahead and do that. And I'm going to start from left to right, the circle, this one, and then the diamond, and then the square one. So let's go ahead and right click to pick that up. And we're going to select this one. And then right click again. That's complete. So this is the highest tier one. That is the blue one. We'll have to pick this guy up also because I don't... Oh, shoot. Okay, so there's the circle. And then we're going to put the triangle next to that. How about right there? So nice. So nice. And we will do this guy next. Make sure there's a couple spaces in between. Now we have the highest tier of these three main rituals. So let's go ahead and drop down our sacrifice bowls. And we have a little bit more work to do. I need to make the highest tier crusher, which will be the merid one. So that will require a block of Iesnium. And we have some Iesnium. So there's 2, and I'm going to make just the right amount. So we need 4 more with our crusher, because this crusher can double the Iesnium ore. And it's kind of a pain to go gather Iesnium to do the whole divination rod and like go find it in netherrack. So I want to try to stretch this as much as we can. This guy doubles it, but if we make this highest tier one, so this guy doubles it. I think this guy does 3 times, 4 times, 6 times. All right, and this ritual is done in the circle one, which is here. So we're going to put all of these blocks. And this will summon a merid crusher, which is the best crusher in occultism. All right, and here is our crusher. Let's pick him up and move him next to, well, not next to, we'll put it over here. So this guy is much, much better. And if we give him 1 Iesnium, you can see that he crushes that very fast, and he gives us 6 times rather than just 2. So I'll give him the rest of these, and he's going to give us a bunch more Iesnium. And these rituals with the golden sacrificial bowls take a really long time to do it. We can speed it up a little bit by making better sacrifice bowls. So any of the rituals that you take a look at, it'll show basically the machines that can craft them. And you can see we have the golden sacrificial bowl, the Iesnium one, and then we have the Eldritch chalice. The golden sacrificial bowl is the slowest one. The Iesnium one makes it a bit faster, and the Eldritch chalice makes it basically almost instant. But you can see this one is a little bit harder to make. It requires heavy cores and budding amethyst blocks and so on and so forth. So for right now, we are just going to do the Iesnium one. So we're going to need more of these Afrit essences that I'll make, as well as research fragments. And we'll need 4 of them, so I'll go ahead and make 4. And you can see that's going to require 36 blocks, or 36 Iesnium ingots. So now that we have this guy to double it, our 5 ores of Iesnium that we mined with our looting, plus this guy 6 times ingot, gives us 133 Iesnium. So that's very nice. So let me go ahead and gather all of the materials needed. So I went ahead and put looting 5 on my netherite sword, on a netherite sword. And when I killed 1 of those blaze Afrit dudes, it gave me 4 essences. So instead of having to do the ritual 4 times, just by having looting on it, I saved that much time. So I do recommend doing that. Or you can just spawn them once, catch them, put them in jars, have your drigmees or wannabes farm them. Okay, this is what we were making, and now I have everything in it. It's going to be done inside of the square one, and we need just these yellow books. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh man, that took 3 to 5 business days. But now that we have the Iesnium one, these rituals will go a little bit faster. You just replace it with the gold one, and you're good to go. So let's do this one first, obviously, because we're going to be doing more of these rituals for our other pentacles. So you can see this one goes much faster. All right, so all 3 of our pentacles have been upgraded to the Iesnium bowl, and things are going much, much faster now. So the whole reason why we did all these things for occultism is for these miners, and we're going to need to make a bunch of these Eldritch ancient miners. These are super powerful because they basically mine things out of thin air when you put them in the dimensional shafts. And look, this guy can produce a whole block of raw unobtainium. That's a 0.22% chance. So that is 9 unobtainium blocks. And if you use their crushers, you can multiply that by 6. So each time it gets one of this, it's 36 ingots of unobtainium. So it's super fast, and you can look through all of the other things. So it could do silver, basically every single, like aether steel from eternal starlight, nickel, inferium, blocks of inferium, uraninite, so a glowstone. I mean, it gives you everything that you're going to need. And since we're not using bees or mystical agriculture, this is how we're going to be producing all of our resources. So it'll give us salt, coal. It even gives you the modern industrialization ores like titanium and what's the other thing? Tungsten. So it'll give you all of those things as well. As well as like clay, ancient debris, stellarite. So this is super handy dandy. And that's what we're going to be making. So let's take a look at the progression line. To make these Eldritch miners, you're going to need all the previous tier miners. So it also requires this mining dimension core piece, which comes from the dimensional mineshaft from either a master miner or an Eldritch miner. So we're going to have to make up to a master miner and let that run until we get these mining dimension core pieces, and then we can make the Eldritch one, which is the guy that gives us all the resources, all the blocks of resources. So let's start with this first guy. It's going to need these empty lamps, and I'm going to make 3 to begin with. And you can see this guy's in the square one. So let's just go ahead and do this ritual really quick. And you can see this one happens really quickly because we have the Iesnium thing and it's a beginner ritual. So it happens very quickly. All right, there's our first miner. Okay, I have gone ahead and made 3 of the Foliot tier miners, and we're gonna just keep upgrading these guys. So the next tier, we're gonna need 3 more of the Iesnium pickaxes. So this will require a bunch of Iesnium. So a bunch of crafting later, we have the Master Miner Merit. And if you press U on this guy and go to the Dimensional Mineshaft, you can see that these guys can mine the core pieces, the mining dimension core pieces, which is what we will need to make the Eldritch Miner, which is the highest tier miner. So in order to make these guys work, we need to put them in these Dimensional Mineshafts, which requires another ritual. So that's where we're at right now. Right, we have 3 dimensional mineshafts and 3 master miner merits. We are almost ready, but I do want to enchant these guys. So if you take a look at their enchantments, we can put efficiency on them. And we're definitely going to want to put unusing. If you have unusing is great, because then once its durability runs out, it doesn't break. And then unbreaking, which is absolutely necessary, because these guys do use durability as their as you use them up. I do have this crystalline flower from the Bumblezone that we grabbed earlier, so let's grab some books and we can make some things. Let's search unusing. We don't have any unusing books. How about unbreaking? We got some unbreaking. We have an unbreaking 5, which is great, and then I'll take these 4s to combine them together. Oops. So here's 2 unbreaking 5s, and we'll grab 1 more from here. So you click these experience things to fill them, to make sure it's as tall as it is. So that gives us tier 6. And it'll give you the ability to get the highest tier stuff. So unfortunately, we only get unbreaking 3. And if we want 5, then we'll need 4 of these books. So we have 4 unbreaking 1s, or unbreaking 3s. Let's combine them. All right, we have those guys are unbreaking 5. If you have the ability to go higher, make sure to do that. We're gonna stop at 5. And then let's also grab efficiency. Here's efficiency 5. And let's set this up. I'm going to use Super Factory Manager. And we will need a netherite barrel, and let's get some stack upgrades in there. I am going to set this up in the overworld. So these master miners have been running for a couple of hours, and we have the 3 dimension core pieces that we need to convert all of them into the Eldritch one. The thing is, if you take a look at the Eldritch miner, this requires, this is the easiest recipe to make it, and it requires this Pentacle, which is the Eldritch one. If we take a look at the Dictionary of Spirits, you can see that is the 4th one that we don't have set up yet, this one. So it's going to require all 6 of these chalks that we will have to make as well. But before we get into that, let me show you kind of how I ended up setting this up. Because I didn't have any unusing enchantments on here, I was worried that they were gonna break if I walked away from it too long. So I went ahead and set up a little automatic repair system using Super Factory Manager. And the way the code works is every 7,200 ticks, which ends up being 1 hour, it's going to pick up those miners and put them inside of the chest. And then it's going to wait 2 minutes after that. So 7,200 ticks plus the 24, so it'll be 2,400, 2 minutes offset from that. So as soon as it moves there, it'll wait 2 minutes for them to repair inside of the chest, and then it's going to pick them up and put one of each of those to the mine shafts. And what that does is, if you guys don't know about the blood chest from Evilcraft, basically you put the blood chest down and you give it some blood, and whatever you put, like I have my pack salt over here, If I put the Paxel over here, you can see that it starts gaining durability at the cost of using blood. So that will just repair our miners every hour, and it's going to use blood. And I just went ahead and combined a bunch of blood extractors together to get 100,000 millibucket capacity. So it's a big capacity, and you put it in here and it'll keep this filled up for quite a bit. So that's kind of how I did that. And let's also show, I did put some more enchantments on there, mainly Fortune. 2 of them have Fortune 8, one of them has Fortune 7, just because that's what I had available. And putting Fortune on them seems to increase the number of ores we're getting. Before, every time it did an operation, you would only get 1 ore. But now it seems like we're getting multiples every time. So that one just got 6. So that has sped up the process. I'm not sure if it increases the likelihood of you getting, obviously you get more ores every time it operates, so that increases it, but I don't know if it actually increases the chance of getting the core pieces. But it didn't take too long, and we have 3 of these. So let's go ahead and grab our miners. And just in case, I don't think that, so here we can put these in and repair them all the way to max. I'm going to repair them before we upgrade them, just in case. And I'm also going to remove the enchantments from them, because I'm not sure if upgrading them is going to retain the enchantments or not. So just to be safe, we're going to take those enchantments back out and just put them in our system. And we are ready to go to the next step. So these 3 main pentacles we have maxed out, and these guys all use the same chalks. But the next one that we're going to be making, why did this reset? The next one that we're going to be making requires completely different chalks. So it's not going to use any of the ones that we already have. And we're going to have to make all of these one by one. So let's go ahead and bookmark these. All right, it is these 6 chalks that we need to make. So let's start with the pink one. So I went ahead and crafted all of these, the 6 chalks that we needed. It's nothing too complicated. I mean, they're just look at the recipe, and it requires basically crushing a lot of things, like with the crusher, like an amethyst shard or whatever. And the only thing, and just do some rituals, like this thing requires a ritual. You guys know how to do this already. So I'm not going to spend 15 minutes showing this. The only thing that might be a little bit harder to get is the cruelty essence, because that requires rabbit's foot and armadillo scoots. Armadillos can be found in savannas, so just look at your nature's compass and look for a savanna, and you can go there and like use looting to kill a couple armadillos, and you'll get the scoots. And rabbits are found in the desert. You can also swap them and use them inside of your mob farm with an apotheosis spawner, or you can also use delightful dirt because they're passive mobs. If you take a look at the recipe for delightful dirt, you can see it's you basically have to use a golden egg on it, so it creates a 5x5 delightful dirt. And the golden egg you get by feeding a nutritious chicken feed to a chicken. So you can make this, feed it to a chicken, get a golden egg, and then you have to use this in the correct biome though. So take it to like a savanna and you can spawn armadillos that way. Once you have all of those, we can just go ahead and toss them in the fires. And now we have the pure versions of those. And let's grab our satchel. Stick these guys in here and take a look at the recipe or the setup for this guy. So you can see we need a lightning rod, which is hard to see, a fence or iron bars, an end rod, a amethyst crystal, a fully grown cluster, lodestone, beacon. So let's grab all those things. I went ahead and farmed an amethyst cluster early on when I found my first geode. I had the foresight for this to pick it up. If you don't have those, you can just grow it. You can make budding amethyst blocks with occultism, so you can do the ritual this ritual, and it'll give you a budding block, and you can just grow it that way. So Occultism nice enough that all of the ingredients that it requires, it'll usually give you a way within the mod to get those. All right, let's go ahead and place this down on the side here in line with the other ones. And what was the last thing that it requires? Oh, it's a piece of glass, a glass pane. So we'll take that also. Put all of these ingredients inside of our satchel and right click. Look at that. It is almost completed. We're just missing one thing. We do have the Iesnium one over here. So that's what I will put. And this is complete. So let's grab more of those bowls. Something like that. And we are ready to do this ritual. We did it. We got all 3 Eldritch Miners. So let's go ahead and put our enchantments back on these guys and take them out for a spin. See what they do, how good they are. So I went ahead and upgraded our books a little bit more. We have Fortune 8 for all 3, Efficiency 7, and Unbreaking 5. So let's start enchanting these guys. All right, so now they all have Fortune, Efficiency, and Unbreaking. Let's go ahead and test this out. It might surprise you, but I'm actually going to trash everything in here. I guess I'll grab the Iesnium and let's grab a trash can. This is just going to trash everything. Goodbye, ores. All right, and then we're going to get rid of the trash can, fix this code, shift click to remove the labels, and let's see these guys. Oh, look how fast that is. This isn't even soul surged, you guys. If you soul surge this, it goes so much faster. So this is kind of overpowered. And even though we're getting all these things, they're all blocks. So we're getting 9 times of each thing. I mean, look at this barrel. Blocks of redstone. I mean, we already have 9 uranite, 5 vibranium blocks. That's going to be nice. We're also getting clay. Ton of amethyst. So this literally gives you so many things. And these guys are fast. They are very fast. Later on, we are going to make them unbreakable, so we don't have to worry about repairing them. And we also will probably soul surge them, or maybe we just make more. I don't know. I don't love the soul surge method. But yeah, so there it is. Eldritch Ancient Miners, probably the most overpowered things in this mod pack for the amount of resources that it gives you. Even more so than bees and mystical agriculture if you speed it up. So anyways, that is where I'm going to leave it here for you guys this episode. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned a lot in this episode, but we will come back in the next one and set these guys up properly. But for now, thank you for watching, and I'll see you later.